Baraka, Yahweh, Alam, Shalom, planet Earth. Hopefully today I won't be too long. This is part 2 of the important of fasting. Uh, part 2, I just want to kind of clarify before we go any further or with the scriptures uh, prove that we still should and supposed to be fasting, because nowadays during these last days people are saying, the fast is done away with. We don't have to fast no more. And one of the verses they like to go to is Isaiah 58. Strangely, it's crazy because Isaiah 58 is actually telling us how to fast. But people are reading this and saying, oh, we ain't got to fast. And they usually get that understanding from verse 6. And I'm going to read it. It says, it's Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6. Is not this the fast that I have chosen? So before I go any further, just to give you a background of what's going on, the Most High, the people ask, why are we fasting and you are not noticing? And the Most High tell them that when you fast, basically you being buttholes, being mean to people. People are hungry, you see them hungry, but you're not feeding them. But you fasting to me. Imagine fasting and treating the Most High to help you, but you're not helping others, or that you're trying to have the Most High to have favor on you, but you mistreating others and making them work hard for you, uh, and just being cold-hearted towards people. So the Most High says, I'm not accepting that fast when you fast. But he goes on to say, is this not the fast that I have chosen? In verse 6, is this not the fast that I have chosen? To loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo heavy burdens, and to let the oppressor go free, and that you break every yoke? Is it not to deal thy bread, verse 7, is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor in, and thou bring the poor that is cast out into thy house? When thou see the naked, that thou cover him, and thou did not hide thyself from thy own flesh? Then, see, there's then. If you do this, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thy help shall spring forth speedily, and thy righteousness shall go before thee, and the glory of Yahweh shall be thy reward. So, Most I saying basically, if you fast, and while you fasting, if you loose the bonds of the wickedness, if you uh see anybody doing anything wicked, if you able to stand up against righteous, do so. Undo the heavy burdens. Help people. Uh, Heavy burdens to be if they got a load with them, or they going through something, they need help with a bill. Help that heavy load off them if you're able. To let the oppressor go free. If you seeing anybody being oppressed, or you yourself oppressing anybody, free that oppressor from yourself or others if you're able to. Uh, it goes on to, dealing your bread to the poor. You see somebody hungry, if you fasting, you're not eating anyway. Go out and do good deeds. Uh, I like to say, when you fast, one of the best things to do is to go out and look to help people. You know, if you see somebody stressed or you know somebody depressed, sit down and comfort them. Be a comforter to them. You know, don't just hide yourself from people or just, you know, be by yourself and fasting or while you fast mistreat people. But uh, people are taking this and saying, well, we should not fast at all. And part one was perfect because in part one, I played a short video from uh, Shepherd of Hermas, from the book of Shepherd of Hermas. Uh, and it says that in the last days, people will oppose to fast. That people will say to us, we don't have to fast no more. And this is how we know in the last days because let me ask you this question. Did the Messiahs grow up off Isaiah, reading the prophet Isaiah? Yeah, they did. Uh, did the Messiah grow up off what we call the Old Testament? Yes, he did. These books was around before the Messiah and his prophets and his disciples walked the earth. So why was they not? Why didn't they get the memo? If they read this way before we read it, why was they not running around saying we don't have to fast no more? And why was the Messiah actually telling people how to fast? Because it wasn't the last days then. If you go back and you listen to part one, when that video started off, it says, in the last days, many will say that the fast is no more. We don't have to fast no more. And this is why people are saying that they don't have to fast no more because we are in the last days. This is one of the proof that we are in the last days. People are doing away with everything. They're doing away with the Ten Commandments, the Sabbath. A lot of people doing away with the New Testament, doing away with the Messiah, doing away with the Bible and God altogether. Everything is foundational. They're doing away with. And then we wonder why we're not spiritual strong. And we wonder why we can't overcome sin. And we wonder why we're not laying hands on people as the apostles did and able to heal them. Because we is taking away the foundation of everything that the Most High is telling us that we need to do or should do. Uh, for all y'all that say, well, we don't have to fast. Well, do you believe in the Messiah? Is the Messiah our example? Are you better than the Messiah? Because a lot of people say we just have to be righteous. We don't have to fast. Our fast is being righteous. But who is more righteous than the Messiah? But still, you go to Matthew chapter 4, verse 2. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterward he was hungry. Talking about the Messiah here. The Messiah fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. And he is our example. Now, I wouldn't encourage you to go for 40 days and 40 nights, but we should follow after the example. And it's amazing because right after he got the Holy Spirit, he didn't just say, okay, I got the Holy Spirit, I'm good now. No, as soon as the Holy Spirit came into him, he was led out to fast. And that's the thing, I'm don't want to tell nobody they don't got the Holy Spirit or anything like that. But when you got the Holy Spirit, there's certain things that will lead you to do. And one of the things is to fast. And when you got the Holy Spirit, one of the things that you need to do to strengthen your Holy Spirit is to fast. And that's just to strengthen your relationship with the Most High. And we going part 3 and 4 and 5, if the Most High will, we're going to get into the benefits of fasting and why it's important. But we're going to take it slow, and this is just part 2. Part 1 was telling you uh, the benefit of fasting. But the important thing was it was saying in the last days, people would say, we don't have to fast no more. And that's not true. The Messiah, the apostles was fasting. If you read the letters they wrote, uh, and you will see that when Peter was in prison, that they all was praying and fasting. And what happened? He got out of prison. But Matthew chapter 9, verse 15. Now, the children, they came up and they said, hey, John and those that follow John, his disciples, they fast and they fast often. So they said, Most High, why you ain't allowing for your disciples to fast? And what the Most High said to them? The Most High answers and says, excuse me, can the children of the bridegroom mourn as long as the bridegroom is with them? But the day will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast. He didn't say if they want to fast, they'll fast, or after I leave, then maybe they'll fast. He said, no, once I'm taken away, then they will fast. Because the Most High understood the importance I said the Most High, but the Most High Son knew the importance of fasting. And he wanted his disciples to fast after he was gone. He said they shall fast. This is what they're going to do when I leave. They are going to fast. And they did fast. So that's just, like I said, I wasn't going to be out here long. Not I'm going to go deep on this. It's really nothing to go deep about. It's just the fact that what I think is we have to be careful when we read these scriptures. There's a lot of false doctrines going on. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was young and I first started reading the Bible, and I didn't understand nothing about the Bible. I was reading it. And you know how they always tell you to start in the New Testament with the gospel. So I started in the gospel. And I didn't understand how the Messiah was able to die, how the Most High allowed for the Messiah to die when he did not commit any crimes. So I'm reading in the Bible like he had to do something to die. And as I read it, and it says that before he took his last breath, he said, my father, why have you forsaken me? And I said, there go right there, I got it. Now, keep in mind, I don't have the Holy Spirit. I really don't understand the scripture in whole. I hadn't even read Genesis yet. But I'm going to prove that the Messiah some way sinned, because I thought by doing this, I was protecting the Most High, because I'm like, the Most High ain't going to let nobody die if they innocent. They had to do something. So I'm like, okay, and I came to an older man, and I said, they say the Messiah, he didn't sin, he was an innocent man, and he died without committing sins. I said, but before he died, he said, my father, why have you forsaken me? And I said, then he gave up the ghost. And I was like, if he never said that, he would have never died. I said, he doubted the Most High. That was his sin for doubting the Most High. And boy, I was certain. Like I knew exactly, like it all made sense to me. The Messiah doubted the Most High. As soon as he doubted the Most High allowed for him to die. And the old man, he just kind of looked at me and he said, you got to be careful when you read that book, because that book is very powerful. And you gotta have the Ruach. But he didn't say that. He just told me you gotta be careful when you read that book because it's very powerful. And that's something that I learned over the years. You gotta be careful when you read this book. Everything gotta add up. If you read something and it don't add up with everything else, then you gotta see why it don't add up. What you not getting. If we are not supposed to fast no more, then why is the Messiah teaching people how to fast? Telling people when they fast, wash their face. If we ain't gotta fast no more, then why the apostles are fasting? If they grew up off these same scriptures that we reading. So how come you reading this and out of this you getting, oh, we ain't gotta fast no more, we just gotta be righteous. But when they read it, they didn't get that. Oh, because in the last days, people are gonna be twisting the scriptures. In the last days, people are gonna be saying we ain't gotta fast. And like I said, more evidence that we are in the last days. So yeah, I just want to tell you that story that when we read these scriptures, first you gotta pray. Always pray to the Most High for understanding that you got it by the Ruach. And make sure it add up. You can't just read a verse about something and say, okay, this is what I gotta do. The Messiah said we should not live off bread alone, but by every word. Key into that word every word, not just one verse, not just two verses, but every word, the whole book. So it must line up everything. So, part three, I'm gonna get deep into what's the proper way of fasting, as Isaiah 58 was saying that when we fast, that there's certain things that we should and shouldn't do while we fast if we want the Most High to hear us. And also, I'm gonna get into why we should fast. This is what this whole thing about and why it's important to fast. But the fast is not done away with it. This is just to let everybody know, and hopefully through these scriptures and my little story I told, clear up the rumor or this uh, false interpretation of the scripture that the fast is done away with. We don't have to fast no more. We just have to be righteous. Kind of sound like the Christian saying we don't have to keep the commandments. We just gotta love. But till then, shalom.